planning to come up with,
Yes.
which will transform the docket so that the great people of Kilifi can also have a feeling that at least they are now at the best hands from the son of Kakoneni.
Okay.
And Jilore by extension, because you like mentioning Jilore and Kishimani.
Yeah, Jilore is the mother of all these cows we are talking about, Mheshimiwa. So I think it will be important to ring-fence that. This is me talking, and perhaps it's from a top-line level. Tourism, in my view, is the biggest thing that Kilifi has, and for me, it is the biggest shamba because it borders everything else that we do within this county. So I'll go blow by blow. So tourism, trade, and then cooperatives. Tourism has the biggest multiplier. So tourism, trade, and then here is that cooperatives product. Tourism has the biggest multiplier. So tourism, trade, and then here is that cooperatives product. Tourism has the biggest multiplier. So tourism, trade, and then here is that cooperatives tourism has the biggest multiplier. So tourism, trade, and then here is that cooperatives tourism has the biggest multiplier. So tourism, trade, and then here is that cooperatives all the aspects around tourism, our culture, and everything else, and then how do we commercialize that product? Okay, so define the product first, because you can't go flying into Italy and go sell a product that has not been well defined, and I'm sure even some of us might not know it very well here. So that is my first stop: define the product. Okay, once we have defined the product, then we shall be ready to do what I call marketing. The second thing, that is my next stop, is essentially how do you engage all the stakeholders within the tourism sector. I'm talking about the national government. What plans do they have, and how can therefore as a county plug into the national plans in order for us to grow tourism in our area. And then the last thing is talking about how do we build capability within ourselves, okay, within the department, at the county, within the stakeholders, and everyone else. And I'm talking about capability around the tours and travel. How do we build capability around the investors in tourism in order for us to have this solid sort of a team that will essentially grow the cake as opposed to fighting for a smaller cake. So that stakeholder engagement is just bringing some harmony within us so that we drive one brand, that is Kilifi. And then essentially, after the stakeholder management and the product, is identifying the markets that we're going to market Kilifi. Okay? So we must have a target market. We can't just go everywhere. So we'll say, where is the size of cake? And where do we go to sell this fantastic product that we have? So we have two opportunities. We have, within the country, we have an opportunity to go and showcase Kilifi. People don't know Kilifi. I have lived in exhibition, and my job is essentially marketing, and I've seen some sort of shyness of how we can sell this great opportunity that we have in tourism. So that second bit is, how do we market this country, this county, into the entire country, East African region, posing as the best destination in the Indian Ocean shoreline. So that is plan number 2. Internationally, how do we leverage with our embassies out there? We have trade attaches, we have commercial attaches across the world. How do we leverage with them to sell our product, Kilifi? Because that is the start of going international. They know the markets out there. How do we plug in so that then we can sell our product here for Kilifi? So I think by and large, those are the 3-4 things that I want to do as a beginning in tourism. So just to reiterate that, define the product, stakeholder engagement, identify markets that you're going into, and those markets could be either local or international. And then number 4, build capability and capacity within us to try and drive tourism.
So that is on tourism.
That's on tourism.
What about the other block?
Now, for trade, trade is versatile. It is where the economic power of a country is found. So over here, it's about delivering policies that will drive industrialization and privatization within trade at the very top of thinking. I know some of these things will exist already in the county, but how do we make them executable? Because, like you said, Mheshimiwa, I went into reading lots of paperwork that are found in the internet and all that. And when we have the strategies in trade, how executable are those strategies? Because that's where the difference is. We can all be very academic with big papers and big everything, but if we don't execute, it won't happen. So that is the first step. The second step is how do I mobilize the day-to-day trade? We have markets, and there's going to be some bit of reorganization around these markets. Foreign markets that are placed in the wrong places, and therefore they're dysfunctional, so to speak. How do you make those markets functional? How do you incentivize trade within the sub-counties? So this starts to speak about taking care of bumper harvests to places where they're not bumper harvests, so that products should be flying around to find markets for this product. So we have the infrastructure for markets. How do we make those markets active? How do we drive legislation so that people can, traders can operate in a well legislated way. So all these factors in trade must come in together to drive trade. Again, under trade, it's always the thing of building capacity and capability, either for the people working in trade or even the traders themselves. How do we help them to build capability around trade? And how do we help them to think about opportunities that will drive trade to themselves? Then I think the execution of the laws, that already exist and the legislation that already exists within trade might be executed so that a fair trading environment is given or happens such that trading will work in a better way. When I go to cooperatives are a different business model that I think all of us learn every day. A cooperative is where the members are the owners of that organization and they are the customers of that organization. How do we scale up? Because we do have many cooperatives. I think last time I checked, it's about 296 cooperatives that are operating in this county. How do we build capability around that as well? Because leadership is the start of the problems we've had in cooperatives. Things are changing. So when we're growing up, there were all these things of cashew-nut cooperatives. There are no cashew-nuts anymore. How do you change these cooperatives into more productive so that they can dramatically change the economy and start to build value to the people who are those cooperatives. So again, I see a lot of literature, a lot of strategies that have been written around that. My first stop would be, how do you operationalize these strategies so that you can start getting things done on the ground? So, Mheshimiwa, top line, that's what I think about the three departments.
How do you think whatever you have shared can escalate to the common mwananchi, because you need to involve them?
Yes, obviously, at some point when so let's get back to tourism. We've talked about stakeholders, and these stakeholders will be at different levels. So you start perhaps from the village, coming all the way to the very elite investors in tourism and all that, same as trade, because this execution has to be done with the people. So that's why I'm saying capability building with the people, growing up with them, and delivering the strategies with them is a starting point. But obviously, when we deliver these strategies and we execute them and we start turning through the economy, that is a starting point, that multiplier effect of the things that we're doing will start to be felt on the ground. That's my thinking.
Congratulations, Kwanza.
Thank you.
I would like to point out that tourism has suffered a major blow in the recent years, and it even got worse during the pandemic.
Yes.
And as a CEC in charge, assuming you will be nominated
Yes,
and
ma'am.
confirmed, how do you plan to revive the tourism sector? I would like to hear short-term solutions and long-term solutions.
Okay. You see, everybody else Mheshimiwa has always blamed COVID for even the things that are not supposed to happen around COVID. The rot in tourism is not about COVID, it's about innovation. We lacked innovation, we lacked energy around the industry. Okay? So, if we are not innovative, innovative, so what did COVID do? COVID just made us to be more careful, but didn't we move from home to office and those other places? So innovation is the mother of everything. Okay? So for me, it's innovativeness around the product, and I'll go back to the product. Innovativeness around the product that we're selling. Quickly talking about the assets that we have as a tourism destination, the Vasco da Gama Museum. I can dare you, Mheshimiwa, go to Vasco da Gama today and you have a call of letter. It's trouble. Was that caused by COVID? That's carelessness in terms of leadership. Okay? So revamp the very small things that you can claim as a destination. Okay? So I'm talking about all those the Gedi ruins, all these cultural centers that you've heard of, many cultural centers. How do we commercialize those cultures? They're not just cultural centers. Well, that's a fabric, we are proud about it, but how do we commercialize this? Okay? After my grandmother dances there the whole day, what is she taking home? Okay, so commercialization of those ideas, I think, would be very good. But back to your question again, reviving the short term. The short term is dealing with the low-hanging fruits. What low-hanging fruits do we have? We need to walk into this Kenya and sell this Kilifi as a destination. That's one. Number two, implant some confidence into the investors who have already shown interest and have invested and have sat here looking at their nice buildings and there's nothing happening around them. How do we come together, think about quickly, how do we bring people into those whatever? And bringing people in there is about legislation, is about incentivizing them and supporting them from a marketing perspective, so that we can have people coming in to bring back tourism. And in the midterm, in the midterm strategy is about how do we build bigger relationships with the national government. There's a national government that is a whole ministry. So Penina Malonza must be kept busy, because what kind of tourism is she doing up there? And we are the ones who have the 154-kilometer ocean space. Okay, how do we go about that? So leveraging with that ministry, I think will go a long way in getting quick ideas, support, that then we can implement locally. We can implement locally and grow our tourism. In the long term, is about how do we get investors to come in and invest in tourism? Because truth be told, our facilities are not looking great, obviously because of the obvious reasons that they were closed and all that. So how do we get investors to come and revamp this facility? That's long term, and we'll be speaking to will-be investors based on the product that we have, based on the opportunities that we can showcase to them, and that's how I see us, starting to build tourism. Don't forget, there's usually the software bit, which is how do we build again capability of the people working in the industry, because it is not about the destination, it's about the service I access, it's about the quality of service that I get, the quality of food, the quality of everything. That is critical. All that can be achieved by working with those stakeholders. But lastly, it is everybody's job. It will not be Raymond Gala's job. It is everybody's job, from budget allocation all the way to execution of strategy and support by people who are seated inside here. That is our responsibility.
If we have heard you clearly, you said that you are a good marketer.
Yes, I am, and you can take that to the bank.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yes.
Are you a member of any professionals? Are you a member of the Marketing Society of Kenya?
Now, I'm not a member of the Marketing Society of Kenya, and I don't care who is listening today. That's an amorphous organization. I don't want to associate.
So, which association are you belonging to? Professional association?
Chartered Institute of Marketing is where
You are a member.
Is where I've been a member. I think I didn't renew in the last 2 years. I guess because of the COVID reasons. But I am. That is the membership that I've been registering all through.
Did you indicate that in the questionnaire you were given?
Yeah?
The questionnaire you were given, which you returned to the counter.
The Chartered Institute of Marketing, I think I did not indicate it because I am not a live member this financial year. So, but that is if I have to subscribe to a professional club, professional organization in marketing, that is the one that I subscribe to.
You said not applicable. That's why you wanted to get clarity. And I know.
Yes, not applicable for now, but that's the.
So what is your net worth?
They're about 69 million. I know I indicated 69 million over there, but it could be 70, it could be 72. I have a couple of goats which I don't know whether they'll survive the drought, so I decided to push them, to put them aside. But that's really my network.
How many goats?
Quite a number, Mheshimiwa.
So it might even be more than what you are sharing?
Maybe about 30 to 40.
Okay.
Yeah. But I put some income that comes from farming there, because for me it's not the physical goods, it's what I get from them when I sell them. That's what I count as income.
But as an asset?
Well, unless you have insured them, which I have not, they do not become assets. And accountants are here, they will tell us. They are, and Mheshimiwa, from where me and you come from, the drought has been very aggressive. So those are things that you cannot even just say.
Suppose you have 100 cows.
Yes.
Each
I had a couple of years ago and they died.
Just a minute. Suppose you have 100 cows, and each one is producing about 15 liters of milk. It is just an example.
Yes.
So if you are supposed to make calculations, let's assume that you are an accountant, like the accountant you said they are around, because
yes.
you know that they might be around. What will be your calculation? The milk or including the cow?
It is both.
It is both.
Yes.
So
the milk is the income, the cow is the asset.
Okay. Now I think you have answered the question about the goats. So
yes.
we can proceed.
Yes.
And also make calculation of the value of those goods.
Sawa Mheshimiwa.
They are alive.
Yeah, they're alive, but they're threatened by drought. So I have no believability that I'll have them tomorrow.
I'll excuse you because you said you have been living in Nairobi.
Thank you.
But if you are really from within Kilifi, or you have been within Kilifi for quite some time, you couldn't be making such a sacrifice. Because we know very well, during drought, goats and sheep survive, but cattle are the ones who are mostly affected. So even if you walk around home, you'll see the way they will be appearing. They will be healthier than the other side.
Very well.
So they will survive.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Unfortunately, you did not indicate what you said you indicated.
I'll get from?
Your network.
I did, and it's broken
said-
down.
you
It's
s-
broken down
You said 70?
into land, into rental income, everything else there.
So you minus the goods issue because you are suspicious that they might succumb to drought.
Yes, I didn't think that is a potential asset to declare in public.
That is very dangerous because at some point you will end up not even calculating, not mentioning about your family because they can also be prone to anything. So
No,
that
my
is very
family
dangerous.
cannot be in the category of animals.
No, I'm saying you cannot pre-assume that animals will die, yet even human beings die. So it is very bad to make such presumptions because when calculating, you make
Okay.
calculations of what you
Okay.
have.
I guess we have an opportunity to
But
update
I
that, isn't it?
understand now. I
If you
think
give me another opportunity because
Yes.
you have educated me,
Yes, yes.
I will add up my few goats inside there.
in fact we should count even the dogs.
Yeah.
They're livestock.
Eh?
They're livestock.
Okay, very well,
We
Mr.
can
Speaker.
get from Joshua. Try it.
Brother Ryan,
Yes,
congratulations.
Mheshimiwa.
What are the key strategies that you intend to use to improve the service delivery in the docket that you are nominating? That is my first question. You can write. As in, what are the plans you have to improve the cooperative and the fisheries cooperative specifically? Because the way you are answering is like, it's how we scale up. Even in the tourism, it's how we build capability. So we want to understand what are the policies that, because you are asking us the same question. We want to understand from you how are you going to improve this capability and how are you going to scale up the cooperative?
Okay. I'll take a stab on your first question, which is about service delivery. The service delivery is about the people that you're working with. And when I talk about capacity and capability, those are just big words. But I'm talking about, it's about training, okay? It's about training, it's about setting objectives for the people that you're working under, because you may know that what cannot be measured cannot be delivered. So I am bringing a system of working where people work with objectives, day objectives, week objectives, monthly objectives. Okay, that way we have clarity on what we are delivering, and that's how the services will start to improve. Okay, so working with the right people who have the right training is a starting point of delivering best-in-class service for the people, because again, it's people who are going to deliver the service. So that's my starting point. My second point is measurement and evaluation. Okay, we must measure what we do. We must give feedback, and we must seek feedback for the services that we are offering in our department. Okay, and then the third thing will be more of the discipline of delivery. Okay, that discipline in itself can start to drive the quality of service that you're offering to people. Okay, so that's my top line. What I think that can happen. There's a lot we can achieve by just getting people directed in the right way to do. Okay, so offering them leadership around how do you set objectives, how do you measure those objectives, and how do you facilitate them from a training perspective to deliver the services that we're going to offer. About improvement of cooperatives through fisheries. And I always joke with my friends in Nairobi that the biggest shamba we have is the Indian Ocean, us as Kilifi people. And therefore, blue economy is the blueprint for this county. If we do nothing else but we capitalize on all the industries around blue economy. If I can mention them, Mheshimiwa, there's fishing and aquaculture. That is one of the industries of blue economy. There is gas and oil exploration, that could be maybe up there. There's sport tourism and water sports and tourism as part of the industry in there. And there's aquaculture that we can do. Do you know we can grow our own fish in the ocean right now? The technology is there. Okay, so the reason fishing, even those fishing cooperatives are not doing well, is because they don't get enough. And when they get enough, they don't have the right markets. And those markets are supposed to be formed by the cooperatives that we are going to set up, or we are going to revive, or we are going to build, or we are going to enthuse around those cooperatives. So for me, when we talk about the blue ocean opportunities, which is what we're talking about in fishing, is the end-to-end execution. How do we increase the capacity and get more fish from the ocean? How do we support these fishermen from a storage or processing capacity? And therefore, once we do all that, we shall create so much pressure in terms of the stock that they have, and therefore cooperatives will come in handy to help them find markets, borrow or save and borrow some money to buy modern equipment to drive fishing. Over and above that, I think as a county, we have the responsibility of building the they call the shipping, that they call the fishing base, okay, where at least even the boats can be anchored. Okay, we see them thrown all over the ocean, which is not the right thing. So places like Takaungu, which are very big in fishing, how do we build nice fishing anchoring wherever as a model, and then we can replicate that in as many towns as possible to grow fishing as an industry.
Maybe a follow-up from what you were asking. You talked about the blue economy, so I want to assume you know something about it, sir?
Quite a bit, yes.
So in college they have a project for the blue economy. I think you're aware of. Is it your Autonomy?
Yes.
Fishing.
Yes.
You're aware.
I'm aware.
So would you bring something like that to Kilifi County?
That's essentially, Mheshimiwa, that's essentially what I'm saying. It's the easy hanging fruits for blue economy is what is happening in Kwale. Okay, so that is a great thing to bring to replicate here, and perhaps to even do it better, because we shall do the feasibility studies, we shall understand the issues that they have, what are the problems they are currently facing, and how do we resolve those problems. So actually, in actual fact, we call it in business search and steal. That's what we should do.
We hear you, but I think what I'm asking is, they already have something. It is going on, it has faults and defects. But what I want to know is what will be different from what they have in the same umbrella for blue economy.
Yes, so first and foremost, Mheshimiwa, when we say blue economy, it confuses, we get dizzy, all of us. And that's why I started by saying blue economy is a big word, okay? What are the industries within that blue economy, and what is applicable to Kilifi County based on our capacity? So for me, what we can utilize for blue economy here is sport tourism, okay, because that is something we can build, and we have snippets of sport tourism. We have fishing spots in Watamu. We have rowing at the Kilifi Creek and all that. So that's one area that we can think around and try and build that. The second area is fishing and aquaculture, which is that industry. So it is not rocket science. It is something that we can plan and do, and I can almost assure you that's a project that can be done within 6 months and it's up and running, because those are projects that you can actually turn around very quickly. So let's not think about blue economy as a big word. What is inside blue economy and what is applicable to us? And for me, top of mind is the tourism aspect in blue economy and the fishing and aquaculture aspect in blue economy.
Okay, thank you. But now, for my understanding about blue economy came from the sky. You know,
From there?
the word blue is the sky, which is everywhere. So that's how blue economy came into being. So blue economy came mostly to assist the youth in the coastal region. We have a situation right now where guys are coming from up country and getting employment under the blue economy umbrella. So how will you help this youth from Kaloleni to get the same opportunity that our youth is getting from Murang'a?
First and foremost, Mheshimiwa, we have sort of a divergent thinking around blue economy. Blue economy for me is about the ocean, not the sky. And why blue economy is important for us here and the reason blue economy is a big thing for us is because land is shrinking, population is growing, so we don't have land anymore. The only place that we can go and farm and create employment, create opportunities is the ocean. Okay? So back to your question of how do we offer employment or how do we offer opportunities to the youth. We talked about growing the aquaculture and the fishing industry and the water sports. And once we grow those ones, the opportunities around employment starts to come. Okay? So I'll give you an example of Kenya Shipyards, which has built several ships within Lake Victoria. Okay? Because that's a blue economy from an inland water body. And what it has done is that because they have formed places where they can repair boats all over the Kavirondo Gulf, okay, that starts to give employment. A, for the repairs, 2, for the fishing equipment, for the fishing because they're bringing more fish out here, they can sell and get employment. So that is how I see the opportunity. Going forward, if we have lots of money to invest around blue economy, is to start to build things like shipyards, where ships will be docking, they're repaired, and that's how you start creating employment. You start building boats as a county and selling to even neighboring counties and countries and wherever. That's how you start to get employment around blue economy. That's my
Congo, please. Okay. Bwana John Gala, you mentioned culture as a product of tourism, and knowing very well that culture department is not in your hands, it lies in another department. And you talked of marketing, but before you market yourself, you have to have developed your products properly. So in this case, how would you initiate or rather develop all the products that are aligned to tourism, minus that culture, the culture product is not in your hands?
Mheshimiwa, there's something in leadership we say these departments are just departments, but they cannot work and succeed in silos. Okay? So that's my starting point. Even if gender and culture is not within tourism, part of that product that we're going to develop for this county must have culture in it, because we have a rich culture, and our fabric around culture cannot be ignored in this product that we're going to be selling to people. Okay? We are the people who know how to present our culture, either through music or functions that we put and all that. So yes, that's not my department, but what makes me not borrow from the gender and culture department to enrich the product that I'm going to be packaging for tourism. So we don't operate in silos. We will be working together. Just like I'll be coming, if I'm successful, I'll be coming to this counter assembly quite often. Why? Because we don't work in silos, but we work together to deliver services to the people.
Thank you.
The other question is, you are aware that tourism is not fully developed. We are only left with domestic aspect, and our economy, or from time immemorial, we have been depending on international tourism. I think you have touched about working with the central government in a way to promote this international tourism. But before you engage the national government in this matter, we have the biggest product here in the coast, the Tsavo National Park, which touches on about 4 counties. But you see, it's not devolved. While in Narok, the Masai Mara Game Reserve is devolved and is managed by the Narok County. What is our take? What plans do you have to push the national government to devolve Tsavo into our hands?
Mheshimiwa, I'll not say that I have plans or something that I've thought about. I think it's a great idea. How do we think through it and bring it to life? I may not have an answer for now, but I think it's a good stop to get into, to start thinking that way, because I think it's a revenue opportunity for if not just for Kilifi, but perhaps for Kwale and Taita Taveta and Tana River or wherever it borders. I think it's something that I would like to put some energy around it if I get into office. So, thank you.
Are you okay?
Very well, Mheshimiwa. Very well indeed. I'm enjoying this discussion.
You're enjoying that?
Yes.
That's good. What is your take on this Kilifi County Microfinance Mbegu Fund? Do you think it is any impact? Do you think it is sustainable?
The Mbegu Fund is a great idea because it's all about financing SMEs at the grassroots level. Very good idea. So I would think it's something that we need to think around and make it efficient, because if we have to offer employment for the youth, if we have to build trade from a mashinani sort of perspective, if we have to help people to invest in business or in trade, then we need a fund that is accessible. Unfortunately, some of the circles here are more of club circles. For instance, before Imarika became a circle for everybody, it was for teachers. Okay, so and many others that are there. So the accessing fund is usually a big challenge in business. So if Mbegu Fund, we can legislate around it, we can put policies around it, and we can make it functional, then it could be the start of the glory of having of our youth who want to invest in business to get seed capital to drive business. So I know there could be teething problems. I don't know. I know there could be teething problems to make that fund effective or deliver the ambition or deliver the objectives that it was meant for. But the opportunity lies in there that it can actually be improved and deliver value to the people of Kilifi.
Yes, John Raymond Ngala.
Yes, Mheshimiwa.
We really appreciate that you have availed yourself for this cordial discussion. I know we have a number of issues that we wish to get clarity from you. But because of time, I think members by now understand the type of nominee they have been engaging. We might be compelled to make further inquiries before even going to come up with the report which we table at the county assembly.
Very well.
So if you allow us by this time, I'll give you an opportunity to give us your final submissions to the committee, if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sometimes I call you Mr. Speaker, but all those are your roles. I want to say, oh, you're the chair here. I want to say thank you very much for this opportunity to come and talk broadly about those three departments. My experience, my intellectual capacity is in business, and all these things we're talking about is about business. I'm a business administrator, so I want to bring into fore the commercial thinking around these departments. How do we commercialize everything that we have? For instance, how do we commercialize Vasco da Gama? Not just coming and looking at it and taking pictures and going away. Okay? How do we commercialize? So I want to bring the commercial aspect of how we think about how we run tourism, trade, and cooperative. So that's really my background, and I hope this will be an opportunity for me to come and do exactly that. The other thing is to say I've enjoyed this conversation, and I'll be happy to share more information.
Okay, thank you very much.
Very well.
Sergeant will take you, will escort you out. As you go, we wish you all the best. First, our warm greetings to all your friends and networks.
Thank you.
I think you now have something you can share about the contest end of the day.
I'm sure I'm on social media, so this is a day of fame.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Almost 5 minutes. That was it. Are you Madam Yaya Shosi Ahmed? Oh, okay. Welcome to the Committee on Appointments. Before we proceed, we are supposed to take an oath or an affirmation. The officer next to you will guide you.
Ahmed, do swear that the information I shall give before this committee on the matters under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
If we are original testimonials, yes, if you have. Yes, have you provided your testimonial?
Yes, I have.
Clearance from where loans for?
I have given the originals and the copies, certified copies.
All of them as directed. And, I think you got a note that you are supposed to bring. You have everything?
Yes.
Let them confirm. Okay, Madam Short. Oh, yeah. You said you are who? You want to get clarity on your name. You said you are?
Yaya Shosi Ahmed.
What about the ID is reading something different?
Yes, because the third name was misspelled, and I have a sworn affidavit confirm that Ahmed and Hamad is one and the same person.
You have the affidavit here?
I have it here.
You have not provided us with affidavit. That's why we are finding it different. We are trying to look at the photo, the ID, and you somehow confused. Oh yes, that will guide us. Yes, madam. The committee wishes to hear from you, but before then, my name is Teddy Mundura, the chairman of this committee on appointments. My vice chair is here. He will introduce himself as the other members will also do the same. Then we move on.
Tali Kombo, deputy chair to this committee.
I'm Thomas Member Chairman, minority leader and member.
Sophia Abdullah, special elect, member of this committee.
Abdul Sidi, member. Member of this committee and deputy leader of the committee.
Honorable Claire of the Sarin, Deputy Majority Whip, member of this committee.
Here Omar, Deputy Minority Whip, member of this committee.
Ibrahim Abdi Ahmad, Majority Leader and a member of this committee.
Okay, the staff start from the
Cyrus Muyewa Kahindi, Deputy Clerk,
William Katana, Principal Clerk. Kubata George, Harsa Director. Joseph Chaka, Finance Officer.
William Ganda, Principal.
Omar Chui, Chief Secretary. Charles Kinga, the Head of Finance.
Damari Safari, Public Relations Officer.
Irene Chepimoy, Communication Officer.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Shos. The committee wishes to know you better, so kindly tell us about yourself and the position of the nominated.
Chairman and Honorable Committee, it's a pleasure to know all of you and to be here with you today. So my name is Ayaye Shosi Ahmed. I'm born and raised in Kilifi, Narani Ward in Kilifi North Sub-County, Kilifi County. I went to primary school in Narani, then I went to secondary school in Loreto High School in Muru, 1994. Then from there, I had 2 years where I did my computer programming, and I also did computer packages in Nakuru. I did that while I was waiting to join the university. After the 2 years, I joined Egerton University, where I did my Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics. I got a second-class upper honors. After Egerton University, I also did my master's in business administration in Kenyatta University Nairobi campus. I also got an opportunity to do a senior management course in the Kenya School of Government. With regard to my profession, I have worked with different organizations, including the CKRC, the defunct CKRC, the famous Yash Palgai Commission. I also had an opportunity to work with the Constituency Development Fund for 15 years. Actually, I have 15 years experience with the CDF, where I have a lot of financial experience.
CDF or NGCDF?
Actually, now it's NGCDF, but when I was joining at that time, it was just CDF. For now, it's National Government Constituency Development Fund. So I've worked there for 15 years. I have a vast experience in project management and financial management. And personally, I have a very huge passion for financial management. That's why I feel privileged to be in front of this panel. Because
maybe you can inform members, were you working from the board or in a particular constituency? So that members can understand. We don't know you, don't we?
Sure, Chair.
And then you share something about your family, because you have not told us whether you are married, or
Yes.
you are single, we don't know.
Thank you. I joined the National Government Constituency Development Fund in 2007. And when I joined the institution, I joined there as a coordinator. I was the regional coordinator for Nairobi region. And I was also the fund account manager in Nairobi. So I had two positions, fund account manager and a regional coordinator for Nairobi. So I did that task for 5 years. And I will combine it by telling you also my marital status, because that was the reason why I moved to Coast from Nairobi. I am married, I am a mother and a sister, and an aunt of course to many. So after the 5 years, I requested personally for a transfer to Coast, because my husband was also moving down to Coast.
You said you are a mother and a sister.
A sister, a mother, an aunt.
But you are not somebody's wife.
And I'm the wife. I said I'm married. Chairman.
Yeah, so that can...
I am married. Happily married. In fact, he is also around, I think.
Don't worry, proceed.
Yeah. So, thank you, Chairman. So, because of that, the family issues, I requested for a transfer. So, I was able to come down to Coast at the same capacity as a fund account manager. So,
but not a coordinator.
But not a coordinator, because I left the coordination part when I moved from Nairobi, out of my own will, because I was considering other family issues.
Because the coordinator is higher than the other position you opted to take at the course.
Correct. But I left the coordination part because of the issue of my family.
Proceed.
Yes. So I've had 15 years experience in CDF.
Which constituencies were you working at the coast?
At the coast, I started working in Malindi, that was in 2012, for 2 years. And then I went to Kilifi North. I worked in Kilifi North for 5 years. And then just recently, I moved to Magarini. I think I've done 2 years in Magarini. Even as I speak right now, I am in Magarini CDF. Yeah, that is the National Government Constituency Development Fund. So that is where I've gathered a lot of financial management experience, and as well as project management.
So you were talking about yourself. You have not talked about the position you have been nominated to.
Thank you. I've been nominated to the position of CEC in charge of finance. That is the County Executive Committee member in charge of finance.
What do you have to say about that position? Do you like it?
I love it because I have a passion for financial management. So I will really appreciate if this honorable panel can consider this vetting and approve my vetting, because this is my line of duty and I have a passion for financial management. So
Do you mind to inform the committee what you intend to do in that docket? The plans you have for that docket? What is the heart of the county?
Thank you.
So inform the members so that they can add supplementary questions.
Okay, my plan is to ensure that we change the way the county has been doing revenue collection, because I know that is an area where we've been having challenges. So I have a very good plan to change the way people have been doing their revenue collection in Kilifi County. Another plan is to ensure that we have reliable resources actually, because that is what will make us deliver services to the people. So I'm having plans to ensure that in Kilifi County we have reliable resources that will enable us govern the people of Kilifi and deliver services to the local wananchi. Yeah, so that is my plan as a CEC nominee. Hopefully, if I am appointed, my plan is to ensure that we have enough resources within Kilifi County so that we can implement the projects for the wananchi.
You have a projection, because you have been within Kilifi for about, is it 10 years now? Within Kilifi County, about 10 years working. So what projection do you have in terms of broadening up the resource envelope?
I have a work plan with me. I may not be able to start immediately, but the initial plan for me is first to understand what is currently being done in terms of resource collection in Kilifi County.
You said you want to change.
Yes.
That's what we heard.
Sure.
So what is your projection? If you change, what do you think you can be collecting?
I know our potential can be between 4.5 to 5 billion. That is our potential. By financial year. But right now, currently, we've not managed, I think we've not managed to raise anything above 750 million in any financial year. But I know we have the potential of raising between 4.5 and 5 billion if we put the right resources and right systems in place.
For purposes of record, I want just to clarify something. On the side of armed forces revenue, before COVID-19, just immediately before COVID-19, we collected way above 750. So we have at least raised that bar.
750 million.
Above that, we raised almost 900.
900.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. And I think I mentioned that we've not managed to go beyond 850. So I think I'm within. You've just mentioned 750.
No, above 900.
It's about 900.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
It's the highest amount ever collected in the country for the last 10 years.
Thank you for the clarification, Mheshimiwa.
And they have told the committee that we have a potential of about 4.5 to 5 billion.
Between 4.5 to 5.
Financially.
By financially.
What members in other inquiries can we go to the real figures?
Welcome. I would want to know from you or to understand more. There's a question, but I think you've already responded to it about us under collecting, revenue under collecting, but I think you said you have methods on how we can raise that. So my question is about gender balance in public service has been overemphasized in various pieces of legislation. Do you consider that as an advantage? And once appointed, how do you see gender issue helping you in discharging your mandate? And then another question would be, I would want to know if you can state for us four sources of revenue collection account governance.
Thank you. To respond to the first question, whether the two-thirds proportion is an advantage, to me I believe it is an advantage, because you are taking on board the different genders so that everybody can be part and parcel of development in the county, so that nobody feels left out. To me, I think that is an advantage, because I think some of the principles of devolution, we are told in the principles of devolution that not more than 2/3 of any representative or in any representative body should belong to one gender. So to me, that is an advantage in the sense that we will have on board all the different genders. And then you asked about how I can discharge my duties.
No, how do how do gender issues help you in discharging your mandate? You've explained yourself about the benefits of having the two-third gender.
Yes. So as being a lady, I want to believe it's an added advantage. Being in a leadership position in Kilifi County, it's an added advantage. It doesn't mean that you've been favored, but it means you are coming on board with the expertise that you have as a lady, and you deliver on the mandate of the county, so that we move this county to another level. Yeah. Thank you.
The other.
Yeah, the sources of revenue. You asked me about the sources of revenue. Okay, we have the equitable share from the national government. That is one of the primary sources of revenue. And then we also have the on-source revenue from the county, which can be collected from different revenue brackets. Yeah. For example, we can get from the parking fees. We get revenue from transportation of agricultural produce in Kilifi County. We can get revenue from transportation of natural resources in Kilifi County. We also get revenue from building and plan approval. I think I've mentioned before, but I know we have so many other sources of revenue in Kilifi County. Thank you.
You did mention about grants and donations or loans.
I've got
given an example of the on-source.
Yeah, but we also have the grants and donations from well-wishers. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
First, congratulations for being a lady and in this particular position.
Thank you.
Kilifi County. In the latest report from the control of budget, our pending bills are huge. So, what do you understand by these pending bills? That's A. Then, what brings about these pending bills? And how will you allocate these pending bills? And the last one. Suppliers in Kilifi, there's a lot of payments delay. So how will you change this?
Thank you for your questions. So, what are pending bills? In my understanding, these are bills that are due for payment, but they have not been paid yet because of so many reasons, maybe insufficiency of funds. But these are bills that we are supposed to pay as a county, but they've not been paid yet. So that is how I understand a pending bill to be. And what brings about a pending bill? The main reason why we can have a pending bill could be because of poor planning. Because in my understanding from my financial management expertise is that if I have proper planning, right from the beginning, at the beginning of the financial year, I should be able to know my budget versus my expenditure. And the county integrated development plan and even the annual development plan tells me that I cannot spend outside my budget. So the moment that the county departments go and spend outside the budget, that is where you end up having bills that you cannot honor. In my understanding, that is one primary reason why a county can have a pending bill. failure to adhere to your planned budget. And then how do I, you've asked me how do you eradicate, yeah. How do you eradicate? Depending just by being, to have the moral obligation to adhere to financial management and public policy principles. So if we adhere to the public policy principles, then we will eradicate the spending base. It means we will be spending according to what we have planned. We avoid spending outside our plan. That is one way of eradicating the spending base. I want to believe even another way is to ensure that you don't accumulate these bills. If it is a bill that you are aware and you have all the paperwork to support that bill, my suggestion would be to pay it as soon as practicable. And that one is possible if you have proper linkages between the executive and the county assembly, so that we don't have any delays in implementation of bills and policies at the county. And you've also asked me about payment delays. Why do we have payment delays? Or how can I change the payment delays? Yeah. One way I would change the payment delays as a CC in charge of finance is to decentralize functions from the National Treasury. At the moment in Kilifi County there is that issue, that loophole, that most of these functions are centralized at the county treasury. So you end up having so many suppliers sitting at the county treasury, and yet we have an opportunity to decentralize these functions and put them in the respective departments, so that we avoid suppliers sitting just in one office. That is how I would eradicate the delay. And I've also mentioned earlier having proper linkages with the county assembly, so that we fast track implementation of these bills. That is another way to ensure that we avoid having failure.
Maybe for clarity, you said you want to decentralize. What are you decentralizing?
Some of the functions from the county treasury. For instance, I'm trying to avoid the issue of suppliers just sitting in one office waiting for a payment, and yet that whole system can also be done through other departments, so that you avoid that issue of having too many suppliers waiting for payments which are not forthcoming.
So maybe as a CC member, there is an MCA here who has a payment, yeah, and maybe they've tried the department, it's not working. When they come to you, how will you assist us?
Excuse me, I wish to hear about that question. You said an MC?
I'm asking about, yeah? Let's say now that the CC member, yeah, and you're saying you're decentralizing the systems, eh? Some of the departments might not really be in agreement with that. So maybe an MCA would come, or maybe in terms of their project, they want to see have you put them in the budget or you haven't put them in the budget, or they don't understand why a project is not being done so well and you have paid from your department. So how will you educate that you paid for something that has not been done well, and the MCA has come to you to complain that we have made a payment, but the project has not been done well, and the payment has already gone through. How will you change that scenario? Because that's what usually happens. You guys pay and then
for avoidance of unnecessary doubt in that question, because maybe the way you framed it might appear to be somehow question. Okay, I want to make it very clear on the question Honorable Cindy was trying to put across. You know, whatever we're doing here is a public, and members of the public wishes to know what exactly is going on. It is live. So we want to make it very clear that it is not the members of county assembly who will be going to the offices to inquire. It is the members of the assembly will drive questions. We'll be having questions at the plenary and statements, whereby you, if you will be successful, you will be required to come to the county assembly, for instance, for a question, to meet with the relevant committee to respond to those issues. And if it is a statement, you are supposed to give information so that the chair can be in a position to share during plenary the responses from you. So maybe what the Mheshimiwa wanted to know is how are you going to handle such issues, because you don't want to have such circumstances. So you need to clearly share to the members how you are going to decentralize payments. The way you said it was not very clear, because we expected, for instance, you tell us whether a water project should be paid at the water department, because we have all the officers there. We have our we have senior accountants, procurement officers, among others. If maybe you can put it that way, it will be somehow clearer to the members and even the members of the public, because they are following. But if you say everywhere you will be paying whether to those people, then people will not understand. Because we want to know whether we also understand how our county government is as you make the changes you wish to have.
So by decentralization, I was referring to sending the payment procedures to the relevant respective departments. So if it is a payment with regard to water, it can be fast-tracked at the water department. A payment with regard to roads, it can be fast-tracked at the roads department. That's what I meant by decentralization, so that we avoid all suppliers sitting in the county treasury waiting for a payment.
Just on top of that, on the issue of decentralization of payments, currently payments originate from the department as usual, and after the department has done the payment, that's the only time the voucher now is transferred to treasury, whereby it will get an IB and eventually the final payment will be done. That is the current procedure. So when you say you're going to decentralize further, what other functions are you going to do? Decentralize the departments, because that is the current situation. But the problem is during the final payment, that's where the issue comes in.
Yes.
So I don't know whether the problem is decentralization or the problem is the payment part. So I don't know how you can address that.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I think I made that clarification that I was referring to decentralization of the payment procedures. I understand that every department have their own procurement plan. I understand that. But at the end of the day, these suppliers go and come at the county treasury for a payment which can be facilitated at their respective departments. That is what I was referring to when I was talking about decentralization, so that we avoid too many suppliers waiting at the county treasury for a payment which can be paid or fast-tracked at the respective department.
Chair, just a matter of, I wish you well, and God willing, you might be the and for purposes of smooth running of that office. Currently, the issue is not that the department make the payments. In fact, at the department level, payments are made very fast, and they are fast-tracked from there. The only thing that you need to clean up, it is the issue of first-come, first-served payments at treasury. Once you manage that, you'll have solved that problem. So there's no further decentralization that you require there. So if you manage and be in a position to succumb to the pressure, whereby you'll be in a position to make those payments on first come, first serve, then it will be very easy for you. I hope I have assisted there. And on that note, Chair, allow me to proceed to my question.
Before you proceed, maybe, Madam Sosi, if maybe you are serious about the centralization of those services at the Treasury, maybe if you get this opportunity, you should make a point of inquiring from Wajir County. They are doing exactly that. So it is possible, but you need to inquire so that you know how effective it is.
Thank you, Chair.
Proceed, Honorable Thomas.
Thank you for that clarification.
Oh, Madam Yaya, congratulations first.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
It's a pleasure to meet you again.
Pleasure.
Karibu. I know the county, and that question has already been asked, but I want to build upon it. Currently, the status of our suppliers and merchants in Kilifi County, and even outside Kilifi County who work here in Kilifi County, is very pathetic. We have examples that fetch far away 6 years down the line who are still running up and down for them to be paid. So it's a very pathetic situation. You will hear a successful story always about Kwale County, whereby a supplier, when he does his job, he submits his documents, he doesn't need to run in every office to follow up a payment voucher. He will just go home, wait for a payment or a message from the bank that he or she has been paid. So you, as the CC Finance, once successful, can you commit yourself to make sure that such happens in Kilifi County for once and for the future of this county? That is one. Two, in county government arrangements, the County Government Act, we have two arms of government. One being the executive and the second being the assembly. We only have one budget, but by virtue of the separation of powers, we as a county assembly have our own budget, which is audited separately. So you as a CC Finance, can you undertake to commit before this committee, once you're successful, you will leave for that budget to run smoothly without any interference from the executive, so that the functions of the county assembly can run smoothly? We need that commitment from you in future.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Allow me to finish the
Sorry.
third one. In Kilifi County,
I'm listening to you.
On the issue of our own source revenue, I have an issue specifically on the minerals and quarries from our county. Recently, we passed an act on quarries and minerals from our county. We will require your goodwill as the CC of Finance in implementation of such an act, because many times the county assembly makes a resolution, but such is not implemented from the executive. So can you undertake to commit here that all resolutions touching on finances from the project will be implemented as long as they are in line with all rules and the constitution? Okay. That's what I think.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa, for your questions. I'd like to respond to the first one, the commitment to pay the merchants within the shortest time possible. That one I can undertake to commit myself, and I will endeavor to ensure we do benchmarking with the best practice in counties in Kenya, so that we avoid such That one is a commitment I can make in front of this committee, and I know it is something that is possible, it is doable. The second issue you mentioned about commitment of having the autonomy of the county assembly, because I know you have your own budget, you prepare your own financial statement, and the county executive does the same. So I undertake to commit that we will give that full autonomy, because these two arms of government are supposed to complement each other. We are not in any form of competition. We're supposed to complement each other. And I can give that commitment in front of this honorable panel that will allow full autonomy of the county assembly. Because as an executive, you cannot work without assembly. So, and the third issue you've mentioned about the quarries, the bills and policies with regard to the quarries. I know. Any bills with regard
to finances.
Sure. And I know the bills come from the assembly, but it is the duty of the county executive to implement those bills. So I can make that commitment that we will implement all the financial bills. And I can even add with a lot of confidence that we will minimize wastages in terms of implementation time, the time frame of implementing these bills. Because at the end of the day, we have targets to meet. So once bills are introduced in the county assembly, the county executive will make sure we fast track and we work very closely with this committee and the county assembly to ensure that these bills are implemented within the shortest time possible, for as long as they are within the law. Thank you, Mashmi.
Yes, Madam Mayor, would you mind to share your network?
I don't mind, Chairman. I don't mind to share my network. I have a network, as you speak, of a total of 12 million. The source of that, my source of income has been my employment, as well as some rental income. I've worked for over 15 years, I think 20 years, because before I even joined CDF, I've been in employment. So I have a total network of roughly 12 million. Source of income is my employment for over 20 years, and also rental income.
We wish to know from you, because you are intending to be the CC Finance. Would you mind to inform the committee of the budget making process? Because you talked about raising revenue among other issues, but it would be fine if you can share the budget making process, that we can understand where the public comes in, where the county assembly comes in, and even what's the implementation stage.
Thank you, Chairman, for that question. I'll be more than glad to share the budget making process. So, in brief, is that by 30th of August, we will be expected to share a circular that gives information on the whole budget making process. That circular is supposed to be circulated by the County Executive Committee Member of Finance, and it's supposed to be shared among all the departments in the county. And the circular entails the framework of the whole budget making process. It gives the details of how the budget making process is supposed to be done. It gives the time frame on how, at what time and by what time are we supposed to implement the budget process. And it also encourages public participation, right from the planning to the implementation stage. So that is supposed to be, the circular is supposed to be issued by 30th of August in any financial year. Yeah, and moving forward, by 1st of September, we are supposed to present the County Integrated Development Plan to this Honorable Assembly. The County Integrated Development Plan, as well as the Annual Development Plan. The Annual Development Plan comes as it's an extract of the big plan. So by 1st of September, those two documents are supposed to be in front of this Honorable Committee, the County Assembly, for consideration and approval. So once that is approved, it means nobody is allowed to spend outside that budget. It's actually the work plan for the county. So once that County Integrated Development Plan and the Annual Development Plan is approved by the County Assembly, it means we will not be allowed to spend outside that. So by 30th of September, there is another document that we are supposed to table in front of the County Assembly, and that should be the county budget implementation strategy, the CPRO, the county budget implementation and outlook paper. We're supposed to present that paper by 30th of September in any financial year. And that paper gives a general overview of how, as a county, we have performed in the previous financial year. It just gives an overview of our performance in the previous financial year. And that is supposed to be presented by 30th of September. And by I'm trying to put it in a chronological order. So by 28th of February, I believe there's another document called the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, which is supposed to be also tabled in front of the County Assembly. And that paper outlines the priority areas in our budgeting process. Yeah, and it also guides us as an executive and the Assembly in terms of doing the whole budget process. There's also another document we're supposed to present to the Assembly on the same date, I think on 25th of February, no, on 29th of February, a document that relates to our borrowing, the county borrowing. It's called, it should be the county debt management paper. It's a document that shows how, as a county, how are we managing our debts? Are we able to manage our debt in a prudent manner, or we are moving way outside our debt management? So that document is also supposed to be tabled in front of the county assembly for approval. And after forwarding all those documents, by end of April, we are supposed to present the budget estimates and the expenditure estimates, revenue estimates and budget estimate by end of April. Also, we are presenting the same to the County Assembly for consideration and approval. These estimates provide, they give us an estimate or an overview of the total estimates in terms of development and recurrent expenditure, and it also gives an estimate of the revenues that we collect, both the on-source and the equal share of revenue, and that is done by 30th. That's why I started by saying this budget process is supposed to go within stipulated time frames, which are outlined in the circular that is issued by the CEC in charge of finance. So by 30th April, if we are able to do all that, then we are supposed to have we are supposed to have the supplementary, before the supplementary budget, we are supposed to have the approval of the official approval of the budget by 30th of June. Once the county assembly approves, then we're supposed to have the official approval. That is something that gives us the mandate to officially spend from the budget. And that one is supposed to be ready by 30th of June. If the county assembly approves, then it means we are given the green light to spend from that budget. That is supposed to be by 30th of June. And then within 3 months, we are supposed to have the finance bill. And that one is supposed to give us our revenue raising techniques as Kilifi County. How are we raising our revenue as Kilifi County? That one is supposed to be within 3 months or 90 days from the time the budget was officially approved. And in the course of the financial year, once in a while, in the course of the financial year, you may have supplementary estimates or supplementary budgets. That will come about when, for instance, you have a reallocation. You want to spend from a vote that doesn't have money, maybe. That's an example. You want to reallocate funds from one activity to another, so you will need a supplementary estimate or a supplementary budget. I think in brief, I've summarized it in brief, the budget process. I hope it is clear. Thank you.
You've done well. Thank you. My concern, which also needs undertaking as well, and a commitment. Currently, there's an outcry of huge pending bills, but now we are eating into the second quarter of this financial year. And as we speak, I'm not aware if you have familiarized yourself with the status quo at the county level on the ongoing procurement of projects. Currently, nothing is going on. already that one is cultivating into more pending bills in next financial year. So you, as the CC Finance, together with the economic advisor at the office of the governor, you equally stand a chance to advise the governor. So if we need a clean bill of health in future, and also that also determines our absorption rate of the budget, which equally determines on the equitable share that we're going to receive. Can you comment that once you are successful, you will undertake to advise the government accordingly so that procurement is done immediately so that we don't cultivate more pending bills in future?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I undertake to commit myself to advise the executive, the county executive, that is the governor, the deputy, to ensure that we adhere to the procurement plan. There is a reason why we have the procurement plan. There is supposed to be a target in to achieve every element in the plan. So I undertake to take that commitment to advise the governor and try to talk to him and advise him to stick to the procurement plan so that we avoid the overlap of projects and payments. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Yes, you said you come from Narani,
Yes,
or you were born in Narani, Kilifi, and you have been working within Kilifi County. The great people of Kilifi County have been complaining that most of the senior officers in Kilifi are reluctant to live within Kilifi County. And that have been pushing the county government to be using a lot of money to facilitate officers to come to the county for service delivery. For instance, about 85% to even about 95% of the former CC members were living in either Mombasa or some even in Kwale. And I believe you know very well that from Mombasa to Kilifi is about 60 kilometers. So you can imagine from Monday to Friday, the vehicle is supposed to be fueled, rush for about 6 kilometers to Mombasa to pick a CC member, comes back to Kilifi, 60 kilometers in the evening, takes back the CC member to Mombasa, then comes back. That is 240 kilometers. Not without calculating the kilometers the vehicle will run within the county. I believe by now you can make calculations and know how much we are losing per day by a CC member. Are you willing to, if you are given an opportunity, to live within the county, or you are also allergic to the atmosphere in our country?
Thank you, Chairman, for your good question. I'm not allergic to living in Kilifi. As a matter of fact, I live in Kilifi, and I'll be more than glad if I'm given the opportunity to serve as CC member in charge of finance. I'll be more than glad to continue living in Kilifi because I want to assist the community of Kilifi and deliver on my mandate as a CC member. And I cannot be able to deliver if I stay outside the county. At the same time, I will also urge the other colleagues, if we get the opportunity to serve in this good county, I would also tell them to do the same, because you cannot deliver services to the people and you are living outside the county and you are doing a lot of wastages. At the end of the day, we want to have more resources in our basket. We don't want to have wastages in terms of fuel and other expenses. So, Chairman, I'll be more than willing to say, I'm actually a resident of Kilifi, but I have no problem at all.
Even the other CCs, if you read the identity cards, they read that they are from Kilifi. Some are even some meters to the headquarters. That is how their identity cards read. But they live away, they are allergic to live within Kilifi because of the positions they are holding. That's why
Actually, I love Kilifi myself. I love Kilifi because that is where I've been. You know, I've been raised in Kilifi and I love the county of Kilifi. I love Kilifi, so I don't know why people are allergic to staying in Kilifi. Personally, I can speak for myself that I will be more than glad and proud to continue staying in Kilifi and deliver services to my people if I'm given this chance.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Sosi. We have had quite a number of issues from you. We have also a couple of questions that we would wish to hear from you. And because of time, I think at a given time before we write our report, maybe you might be contacted for either clarity or a respond to some questions so that we can also be fully aware as members that we go down to write a report which we table in the county assembly. So I would wish to give you an opportunity to give your final remarks or submissions so we can end the conversation.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, honorable members who are here, present here with me today. My final remarks is just to sincerely appreciate getting this opportunity to sit with you and to tell you about Kilifi County, and also to hope and pray that you can consider this application. I'm looking forward to working with you people as a team, and I can commit myself that I will work with you people as a team and I will change Kilifi County. So I'm looking forward to working with you people, and it has been a pleasure being here today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The Sergeant at Arm will escort you out. As you go, you pass our warm greetings to your family, friends and networks. I think we have a story to tell about the county assembly. We are very welcoming. It's a public place, so if you are given an opportunity, don't hesitate to come when you are given, when members request that you come and maybe clarify on certain issues. So karibu sana, uwe na safari njema, usalimie mzee na watoto.
Asante.
document they are writing then. So share the documents you have brought so that they can clarify. But before anything, you are required to take a note or an affirmation. The officer next to you will guide you on how to do it.
I, Felkin Kayingundena, do swear that the information I shall give before this committee on the matters under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mr. Felkin Kaingundena. My name is Teddy Mandiri, the chairman of the Committee on Appointment. I welcome you to this committee. My vice is here. He will introduce himself as they introduce each other. As each one of them introduce themselves, then we'll proceed.
Futali Congo, deputy chair to this committee.
I'm Thomas Mumba Chongo, minority leader and a member.
Sophia Abdullahi Chacha, special elect member of this committee.
Agnes Sidi, member of this committee.
Martha Koki, deputy majority leader, member of this committee.
Faruk Karim, deputy majority whip, member of this committee.
Ibrahim Abdi Ahmad, majority leader, member of this committee.
Mheshimiwa Saidi Juma Idi, member of this committee.
Yes, officers, please.
William Katana, principal clerk.
Nyabukagua, clerk to the committee.
Omar Chudi, chief sergeant at arms. Mbaka George, Hansard director.
Charles Mapinga, director finance.
Yamari Safari, public relations officer.
Irene Chepkemoi, communication officer.
Yes, Mr. Felkin.
Yes.
Do you have certified copies? Have you supplied the committee with certified copies?
No, I only have the originals.
Did you understand when they wrote to you? Because I think they had guided you on what you should bring to the committee.
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate that will not proceed unless you provide us with that information. It's very, very unfortunate. You know, whatever we're doing here, we are not just doing it as by the way. It is a process. It's a legal process. It is extremely very important. So we are extremely very sorry. We will give you an opportunity to do that by tomorrow 9 a.m. Then we'll consider if we'll be having time to vet. Otherwise, you know, the entire public is aware that you are supposed to vet you today. So we'll consult whether we vet you tomorrow or any other day. If we will be compelled to advertise, then we'll do so. If we are supposed to inform the public that you are supposed to be vetted in a particular day. So whatever guidelines that you are given, please comply with them. Yes, don't take it casually. This is a county assembly, and if you read the standing orders, you will know our actual roles and the powers that we have. So we are very sorry. It is not our mistake. If it is ignorance, sorry, ignorance is not defense to law. So please, Sergeant, assist us by escorting you. that he can go prepare himself for.
Mr. Speaker, sir, can I go and photocopy them, the statement and then?
No, we have given you time. You can be escorted. You do all that you can. Bring those documents by tomorrow at 9 a.m. We will see what we can do. We'll consult widely.
Thank you.
Yes.